Hey you playa, modern dating feels damn near impossible for a lot of guys out there. There are technological, sociological, and cultural reasons that are holding men back from pursuing women and finding an ideal partner for them. First and foremost, I just want to point out that for most men, online dating is brutal. About 3 in 10 US adults have used an online dating app in the past. Over the years, I've seen the data show that more and more people are shifting to online dating. It's easier to just search people up, do it on your free time, not a lot of commitment there, and you don't really have a lot to lose because if someone doesn't respond, you could just move on to the next person. Something you may commonly hear though is that if you're a girl on an online dating site, you have endless choice galore. There are guys just lining up to go out on a date with you and you have your pick of the litter. Well, it makes a lot of sense because 75% of the users on Tinder alone are male. 65% of them are male in the US, and in countries like India, over 90% of the users are men. So when you're dealing with such an imbalanced system like that, it's going to be way harder for you as an average guy to stand out. You see, dating apps put a huge emphasis on physical looks. People really don't spend that much time looking at a person's profile. They may scroll through the first or second photo, but they make an instant snap judgment as to whether or not this is a person they want to continue to pursue based purely on their looks at times. Meaning, if you're an average looking guy with a wonderful personality, you're smart, you're funny, you're caring, you're kind, that may totally get overlooked compared to a guy with six-pack abs or just a beautifully sculpted face. On top of that, there are a ton of double standards that bake ambiguity into the dating process that leave a lot of men feeling like things are unfair. For example, men are expected to always be confident and assertive and direct with women whenever they like them and want to pursue them, but the same expectation isn't really held of women. If that's something that a man discovers he struggles with, he's often ridiculed, belittled, and emasculated because of it. He's not considered a man because he's not really pursuing women how men should be. And because society has normalized this idea of a woman waiting on the sidelines for a man to direct his affection towards her, men are often left confused as to what women want in those interactions. They're often worried that they may be too aggressive or not aggressive enough, being too direct where they may be pushing boundaries, or maybe not direct enough where they're looking weak in her eyes. And because women then have the privilege of being pursued rather than always having to be the pursuer, it may feel like it's not that big of a deal to leave a guy on red or to not answer his message or to give him just short little responses that don't really tell him much about how you feel. Now, don't get me wrong, men aren't owed a response by women just because they're pursuing them, but it does leave all that ambiguity and open-ended question marks for men to not really know how this woman feels back about them. Men are also in this weird place where there's this deep need to impress the women that they like in order to feel a sense of worthiness. Society reinforces this idea by encouraging men to focus on being financially stable, successful, really high status, and all these different superficial markers in order to be worthy of consideration by women. Now look, there's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve any of those things. If that's what you aspire to in life, have at it. But a lot of guys do feel inadequate if they don't meet those specific markers. If you're a regular guy working a regular job, busting your butt, really just trying to make ends meet and looking for a good girl to accompany you, you may just feel like there are so many other better guys out there. Why would a girl ever want to settle for you? And on the flip side, as more and more women graduate college, gain better degrees, and earn higher salaries, they may still want a man who makes more money than them because that's a marker that this is an actual man as society has dictated. And while we're talking about the societal shift in gender roles, we can't ignore the fact that a lot of men are left clueless as to what the new modern responsibilities are for them as things change for women as well. The traditional view of what a man's responsibility is in a relationship has evolved. Nowadays, men are expected to take on more domestic work in the house, to help out with cleaning, to help out with taking care of the children, to help out with a lot of responsibilities that just kind of fell on the woman's shoulders before. And why this is confusing for a lot of men in that dating world is because it feels a bit incongruent with what a woman may be looking for in a short-term dating setting versus a long-term dating one. In order to be considered a potential long-term dating partner, you have to have some level of success in short-term dating. You need to kind of meet those first entry-level criteria to actually get a chance later on. And on top of that, a lot of men just don't have the role models needed to help show them how to evolve as this new man. So when men are in that position where they are constantly facing rejection over and over and over, it can be so incredibly soul draining. It can crush their self-esteem. It can leave them wondering, who am I? What's my purpose? Will I ever find love? A lot of men will go through the rest of their lives never receiving a compliment from another human being. They'll never get any sense of praise unless they accomplish something first. They'll never feel good enough just the way they are. And when they're constantly rejected by women, it only fuels that anxiety, that worry, that angst, that bitterness that makes them feel like you fall short. You are just not worthy enough. And there is a lot that can be done here to help men who are struggling with dating. But we first need to stop minimizing the challenges that they're facing. That guy who struggles with talking to women, who isn't the most confident or charismatic, isn't someone to be mocked and ridiculed by you. The man who just isn't the most financially successful or financially stable isn't someone to be tossed aside like they don't matter. People are going to try the best that they can with what they're dealt with. So we should approach this issue as an educational opportunity for men to help men learn and grow and evolve in society so they can be the best partners they could potentially be. Every single one of us has what it takes to be somebody great. And if you're a guy who's struggling in dating and you want to improve, find the right kind of coaches, the right kind of mentors, the right kind of advice that's going to lead you to a happy, healthy, and successful relationship, and toss aside the people that are trying to box you into a traditional way of thinking and saying that's the only way to succeed. On that note, I'll catch you next time. As always, love and peace.